Hello children, how are you doing today? I welcome all of you to this video class of class 10 English. The topic that I have brought for you is a topic which is there in the first flight, the course book that you have, and the name of the chapter is The 100 Dresses Part 2. So I have already brought the first video and I have uploaded it in my channel. So this particular video is a further continuation of the same video. The same way, the part 2, the 100 dresses part 2 is actually a continuation of the previous chapter, the 100 dresses part 1. Okay, so let us get started. And in the previous video, I had told you about Wanda Petronsky and her Polish origin and the way she was tortured, at times harassed by her classmates. In America, Chicago, where she had settled, she was an immigrant and she had come to America to settle down, to have a bright and secure future. And when she joined the school at that time, she was ill treated. So we have covered that part in the first video that I brought out. So here comes the second video of the same chapter, and let us get started. And I'm going to explain the meaning, the main points which are there in part 2, and we'll move on to the next part. So here, in continuation of the previous lesson, the 100 Dresses Part 2 reveals why Wanda Petronsky had not been coming to school. So in the first part, it was written that Wanda Petronsky was not coming, had remained absent for 2 or 3 days, and nobody had taken notice of her absence initially. Okay, and then there was a competition, a drawing competition which was held, and in that competition it was Vanda Petronsky who had stood first. She had won the first prize. So that was a surprising, a shocking news for the entire class, because the class had thought that Vanda was fit for nothing. She was a very shy, reserved girl who was mocked at by the classmates. So now what happens? The Petronsky family decided to move to a big city where no one could care about their unfamiliar name. So this is what happens. In this chapter, we are going to read about the fact that Petronsky, Vanda's father, he decides to take the family to a bigger city where they won't be, insulted and slighted by other people because of their foreign origin. Okay, so this is it. On hearing the note, Maddie and Peggy got anxious as they realized that they would never get a chance to make amends for all the teasing they had done. Both the girls get relieved only on learning that Vanda liked them and had dedicated one of the 100 dresses drawings to each one of them. So this is the gist of what happens in this particular part 2, the chapter. Okay, so these are the main points, the crucial points which you have to keep in your mind. That's why I've given these points at the beginning of the video. So here the lesson begins with the fact that in room number 13, the teacher, Miss Mason, who is the class teacher, she has instructed all the children to move around in the class and look at the beautiful drawings which are pasted on the walls. These drawings belong to Vanda Petronsky, who has stood first in the drawing competition. So as the children are circling around, what happens? There is the monitor of the class. He comes to the class and he brings a note from the principal's office. Okay. So a note is received by Miss Mason from Vanda's father informing that none of his 2 children will attend the school as they are moving to a big city. The monitor of the class brought a piece of note from Miss Mason. Miss Mason read that note multiple times as she couldn't believe what was written in it. Finally, she decided to gather the class to read it loud and clear. It was a letter from Vanda Petronsky's dad. She silenced for a while, which created tension in the minds of the students. So This is what this is what happens in this part of the chapter. What happens is that the monitor of the class has brought a note, and that note contains a letter. It has come directly from the principal's office. So everybody is slightly anxious to know what is written in that letter, which has come from Vanda's dad, and they are all in heart of hearts, in the bottom of their hearts, they are aware of the fact that they have not treated Vanda in a proper way. So that is also a reason they think that there might be something related to their behavior in that letter, and they are a little nervous. The school children, the class students, they are a little nervous, and they are waiting for the letter to be read to them. This is the letter. Okay. Dear teacher, my Vanda will not come to your school anymore. Jake also. Now, we move away to the big city. No more Holler Pollock. No more asking why funny name. Plenty of funny names in the big city. Yours truly, Jan Petronsky. So this is the letter. Look how the letter is written, the format of a letter. It is very well shown over here. So this is a letter which comes from Jan Petronsky, Vanda's father. And in that letter, he has mentioned the fact that he is not going to now, send his two kids, his two children to school anymore. Why? Because the children had complained to their father that they were ill-treated and insulted by the school children. So that has created an impact on Vanda and Jake. That is why the family decides to move out of the city and go to a new place to settle down and find a better and secure future. So they have moved out. They have gone to a new city, and the father has not even mentioned the name of the city where they are going to settle down. Okay, and then he also says no more hollow pollock. The meaning is no more criticizing, no more criticism in the name of ethnicity. So this is what happens in this part. Let us see what happens after. What is the reaction of children once the letter is read out to them. So we are going to find that out. So after hearing what was there in that letter, everyone was left speechless. Miss Mason too was stunned, and thus she cleaned her glasses, wore them again, and spoke to the class in a low voice. She conveyed her disappointment to the class and asked them to ensure her that nothing was done purposefully to hurt Vanda. She gave the children benefit of doubt that everything they did was done unintentionally. She said whatever happened was sad and unfortunate. She advised the students to introspect about it too. So Miss Mason, she is very sorry. She is very unhappy at the situation which has emerged and which has forced Vanda to move out of the school. She is aware that it is the doing of the class children, the children of her class. But then she handles the situation in a very delicate and sensitive manner, and she tells the class, she reads the letter out to them first of all, and then she tells the class that it is a very sad and unfortunate happening which a situation which has emerged right here with Vanda leaving the school. And Vanda has left the school, and that is something which she believes has not been on account of the bad behavior shown to Vanda by the school children. She wants the children to say that whatever they did, it was done unintentionally. They did not want to hurt Vanda. Okay, so this is the way she is trying to convince, she is trying to sensitize the children about bullying, about ill treatment which they sometimes inflict on other children of the school. So this is something which is a strong message from the teacher to the student community. This teacher, Miss Mason, she has sent a very sensitive message that when you are in a class, you are supposed to behave, you are supposed to be cordial, friendly with each other. You are not supposed to insult others. This is what she wants to believe in, and that is why she says that I personally believe that you people have not ill-treated Vanda in any way. Okay. Now what happens? The letter has been read. Everything is over now. Vanda has left the school. Now the reaction settles in. Now slowly and gradually, Maddie, Peggy, and other children of room number 13, they start realizing what they had done to Vanda. So here we go. Maddie was feeling terribly guilty about her behavior. Everyone began thinking about what was written in that letter and how each one of them made Vanda feel. In their first period, Maddie couldn't concentrate on her studies as she felt sick for not stopping Peggy at the right time. Had she stopped Peggy from playing that dress game with Vanda, things could have been different. Although Maddie never teased Vanda, but nor did she stop Peggy from doing it, which makes her just as bad or maybe worse. Peggy's intentions were never to hurt Vanda, and she was not aware that her game hurt her feelings, aware of its impact. Yet she stood silent, which made her a coward. So we are dealing with the emotions of Maddie. Maddie was not directly involved in teasing Vanda. She always accompanied Peggy, who was the mastermind of the complete situation. She was the one who targeted, she was the one who humiliated Vanda again and again. And it was Maddie who stood by her side. She did nothing to stop Peggy. This is what Maddie is thinking about right now. And she says that she could have done something to save Vanda from the insults and slights of Peggy. And she says that had she been aware that they were hurting Vanda in this manner, in such a cruel manner, then definitely she would have stepped into the situation and she would have asked, Peggy to stop. But then at the same time, we remember in the first part also, she has said, Maddie has said that she was slightly afraid of Peggy because she also came from a poor background. Probably that's also accounts for her, compliance. She remains quiet. She remains silent in view of the atrocious behavior of Peggy. So this is something, there is this reason behind it. Why? Because she herself hails from a poor background and she's afraid that if she raises her voice, maybe she would be the next target. That's the reason why she decides to keep mum, right? Let us see what happens after this. And then she was filled with guilt because now Vanda has left the school. So she says, filled with guilt and regret, Maddie wished for a chance to apologize to Vanda, hoping Peggy would be thinking about Vanda too. That day, after the school had ended, Peggy asked Maddie if they could go and check if Vanda had moved or not. Maddie was satisfied at the thought that they both had same plans of apologizing to Vanda. Both of them hurried to Boggins Heights, the place where Vanda lived, in order to find her. So this is what happens, and after the class gets over, and everybody is in a somber mood, serious mood. Why? Because they have ill-treated Vanda and they are aware of their bad behavior. They have been made aware of their bad behavior in a very subtle and gentle way by the class teacher. And after the class is over, it's Maddie who goes to Peggy and they decide that they would go to Boggs Heights where Vanda lived with her family and they would check on her. They would find whether she is there or not. And if she is there, they would apologize. They would say sorry. They would ask for her forgiveness and they would request her to come back to the school and they would be friends once more. So this is the idea, this is the plan, and it shows that both Peggy and Maddie are feeling guilty at that point of time. Though it's Maddie who is more sensitive to the situation, and she is reacting as a very sensitive child who rises to the bait, and she decides to do something about the grave situation that she has fallen in, right? And she goes to Peggy and she requests her to accompany her to Boggins Height. And then uh, They went to Boggin's Height, and then let us see what happens there. So Peggy tries to comfort herself by murmuring that at least she did not call her a foreigner. Some students of the class, they used to call her a foreigner, and that is a terrible thing to to isolate someone in the name of the ethnicity or the origin or the family background. So that is a wrong thing to do, and some students did just that. Okay, and neither did she make her feel different for having an unfamiliar name. She was always in this delusion that Vanda had no idea that those girls were making fun of her. Above all, Vanda is such a great artist too. Maddie, on the other hand, couldn't say a word. What she hoped for is a chance to confess, make amends, appreciate her, and try to stop her from moving away. So both the girls are going through their own emotional distress. Peggy feels that at least she's trying to, because she was the one who had targeted Vanda the most. So she is feeling terribly guilty from inside. And in order to, assuage, in order to compensate for the mistake that she has committed, she keeps on saying that at least I did not call her a foreigner, others did. And then she also says that she is a good artist. So in a way she is trying to forgive herself. In a way she is trying to come to terms with the terrible mistake that she has committed, right? And then they have gone to Boggin's Height. Let us see what happens. They saw a white little house up there when they reached Boggin's Height, and they thought it was the place where Vanda Petronsky lived. The house and its surroundings were shabby but clean, just like Vanda's worn out blue dress. Thin bunches of grass grew along the path that led to the house. They resembled thin kittens. No one could be seen around the house. They knocked both at the front and backyard doors, but to their disappointment, there was no answer. So this is what happens. It's too late now, it seems. Okay, so they have gone, they have reached Boggin's Height, and they have traced the house where Vanda lived, and they go there and they knock at the door, at the front door. There is no one who answers the door. So they are not giving up hope. They go to the back side of the house. They go to the back door and they knock there many times, but still the door is not answered by anyone. The fact is very simple, that the family has left. There is no one inside the house. So they have lost the opportunity to ask for Vanda's forgiveness, and this opportunity is now lost forever because Vanda's father has not given any forwarding address. So they are not in a position to write a letter to her or to ask for her forgiveness. So now this is the situation that the girls are in. Okay. Now what happens? They have to come to terms, they have to adjust with their guilt. Okay, now the Petronsky had gone along with them. Maddie and Peggy's last chance to make amends to has gone away, has gone down the drain, has perished. Okay. In order to comfort herself, Peggy started saying that Vanda must have looked for drawing inspiration only after she started her dresses game. And hadn't she done that, Vanda would have never won the drawing competition. So now Peggy is trying to justify her action, which is actually wrong, but because she is guilt ridden, she is feeling guilty, that's why she comes up with this kind of argument in order to save herself from humiliation and embarrassment. And she says that perhaps Vanda won the first prize in that competition only because of the nagging, only because of the treatment that was meted out to her, because that force, because she used to ask how many dresses do you have, and Vanda always answered that she had 100 dresses. So she says that perhaps it was because of this game that Vanda had designed 100 dresses, right? And Maddie also tried to convince her after that. Peggy said, and that if this is the case, she doesn't have to feel so bad. But later that night, she couldn't sleep as she was thinking constantly about Vanda's little house, her faded blue dress, both shabby but clean, and her glorious 100 dresses that were all lined up in the classroom instead of the closet. Finally, she sat in her bed and started thinking deeply. The hardest she had ever done. So now what happens? Maddie is unable to sleep that night and she keeps on thinking about Vanda and the ill treatment that was meted out to her. And then she also thinks about the Boggins Height where she lived, and the house when they went over there, it was all deserted. There was no one who lived there, and out of their mistake, Vanda had to, because of their mistake, Vanda had to leave the place. Okay, and then she is thinking and she is just self introspecting. She is introspecting, she is just trying to analyze her own behavior and action here. She pressed her forehead tight in her hands, which indicated that she was really trying to concentrate. After thinking so much and so deeply, she came to a conclusion that she will always stand against the wrong. She decided that she would never let anyone make fun of others because of their appearance, name, clothes, or where they came from. So, this is something which comes as a lesson. An intelligent and a sensitive person is not someone who makes mistakes, but a person who learns from his mistakes and rises above it. And Maggie is showing that tendency, which is a very good quality that she has. And what's that quality? She is accepting her mistake. She is in that acceptance mode and she comes to a conclusion that the behavior that they showed to Vanda was actually hurtful, was actually insulting. They shouldn't have indulged in that kind of behavior. And then she finally decides, she takes a decision that from now onwards there would be a change in her behavior. She would not mock people who came from different countries or different language or religion or from different family backgrounds. Everyone is special in his or her own way. And this is a lesson which Maddie has learned in a tough way, in a hard way. But then she has learned. And she says that she will never, discriminate people on the basis of appearance, the physical, features that they have, or the name, the kind of name, because Vanda was always targeted because of her foreign name, and then the clothes, the kind of clothes that they wore, or the origin of their country. So she has learned a lesson, and so has Peggy, I believe, because both of them are feeling guilty. So the chances are both of them have understood and they have learned a good lesson from this episode. Okay. Now, with this, we come to the end of this particular chapter. I hope you people have enjoyed, okay, my explanation. And the words were mostly simple, so I have not given you any word meaning. Now, coming to the assignment, I just took out this assignment from your book. This I found this an interesting piece of assignment related to grammar. So I decided to give this as an assignment question. The assignment question is question number 1. Here are 30 adjectives describing human qualities. Discuss them with your partner and put them in the two-word webs given below, according to whether you think they show positive or negative qualities. These are the words. There are 30 words which are shown here, and you have to identify whether those are positive qualities, positive adjectives, or negative. So that is something which you have to do in your copy. The second question goes like this: what adjectives can we use to describe Peggy, Vanda, and Maggie? Okay. You can choose adjectives from the list given in question number 1. You can also add some adjectives of your own. Okay, Peggy, Vanda, and Maddie. So these are the questions which you have to attempt in your copy. So I hope you have enjoyed this class. So I'm going to be back with another video related to class 10 topic. Till then, bye-bye. Take very good care of yourself and stay happy, stay healthy, and stay blessed, my dear children.